Hello everyone and welcome back to IMO Reviews. Today we are discussing Argylle, directed by Matthew Vaughn and starring Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Rockwell, Henry Cavill, John Cena, Samuel L. Jackson, Bryan Cranston, Dua Lipa, and many, many more. Ellie Conway is the author of a set of popular spy thriller fiction novels called Argylle. That is until she discovers that her work of fiction is more real than she thinks. So let's get into the positives, shall we? If we have any. Let me think. The cast is fine. They seem to be having fun at least. Bryan Cranston in particular is chewing every piece of scenery he can get his hands on. He's the only one here who really seems to realise how goofy the material is that he's been given. And he just rolls with it. He just has fun with it. And he's probably the best one here, to be honest with you. The movie does at least try to do something new and original. It held my attention for the most part. I do think there are some nice sets and locations. When they're real, that is. And I also think that Vaughn's editing style and choreography was a bit calmer here and more controlled, which I really did appreciate. Because some of his other more aggressively frantic works are so busy and moving so quickly you can barely process what's happening. Didn't find that to be the case here with Argylle. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. But sadly, that really is about as many positives I can really string together here. And unfortunately, I have a seemingly never-ending list of negatives. So let's get started. It's very poorly written in every regard. It feels so rushed, so sloppy, so first draft. There are aspects of this movie that stick out like sore thumbs and you can't help but ask yourself, why is that in here? Why is that there? Why does that character exist? Why does she have a cat in this movie? Why is the cat taken everywhere? It just becomes a hindrance in the long run. It just comes across that the film needed something cute to rope audiences in with. Argylle also has the weirdest soundtrack of 2024, and we're only 2 months in, for God's sake. Some of the song choices here are all over the place. They don't fit the scenes emotionally. They have that new Beatles song now and then playing throughout this film at least 3 or 4 times. It's very strange. It's very weird. It really feels like there's some sort of sponsorship, handshake, exchange of money deal going on there, that song is so predominantly played here. The CGI is appallingly bad. In the opening scenes, it's like they're not even trying at all. And the trailer is exceptionally misleading. I'm not going to spoil the film for you, but if you're coming here for a Henry Cavill 007 audition, yeah, no, you're wasting your time. That's not what this is. Yeah, Henry Cavill's not even really in this that much. Of the entire movie, he's probably in about 20 minutes of it all, possibly 30, but that's pushing it. Yeah, he's very much a background character here, and that is not what the advert makes out. No, instead, it's a really trashy, predictable, lovey spy rom-com that feels like it came out in the early 2000s. It's night and day, it's Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it's all of those equally bad and failed projects from then, except coming out now, for no reason whatsoever, and not doing anything better than those previous films either. There is one scene in this movie that I just have to talk about because it's probably the scene I am going to remember the most because it's going to give me sleepless nights. That somebody somewhere wrote this and it got the green light, they just went with it despite it making fuck all sense. There is a scene in Argylle where Bryce Dallas Howard ice skates on oil. And she's really good at it, like she's doing all these flips and spins. She basically turns into I, Tonya. And it's out of nowhere. Not only does it make any sense, but you're just looking at the screen like, have I died? What? Huh? It is such a curveball, and it doesn't really achieve anything other than make you go, okay. And what's more annoying about that scene is that it's such a missed opportunity, and there are so many in this film. There are so many times in this film where I can see such an easy opportunity for this to have been played as an over-the-top Leslie Nielsen-esque spy thriller comedy, and it just doesn't. So many times there is a dumb and obvious, even eye-rolling gag sat right there, and they never take it. This whole oil skating scene where we're meant to be blown away by the fact that Bryce Dallas Howard can do a spin, even though it's very clearly CGI. Yeah, why wasn't that played up for laughs? Why couldn't that been a really good, cheesy slip and slide fight? I wanted people falling on their asses. I wanted people skidding past each other as they're trying to fight each other, and then they're, you know, wafting their arms to get back to the other. But yeah, no, we're not gonna have any fun with this movie. Why would we do that? In fact, there is only one scene in this film where me and Mrs. IMO genuinely laughed out loud, and it's because they actually went for that low-hanging easy fruit where it's just stupid but it's funny. And it's a perfect example of what I mean when I say that this movie has absolutely no idea what tone it wants to be, it doesn't know what story it wants to tell, it doesn't know what genre it wants to go in, and so it just does a bit of all of them, and achieves none of them successfully. Each act felt like a different movie to the one we just had prior. The first act feels like a sort of very British Paddington spy thriller, then the second act kind of transgresses into that film The Tourist, was it called? Do you remember that crap with Angelina Jolie and Johnny Depp on the train? Yeah, it basically falls into that for the second act. And the third act is just undescribable cocaine-fueled madness of anything goes. There is a point in this movie where me and Mrs. IMO looked at each other and just said, what the fuck is actually going on? Neither of us had any idea who we were rooting for anymore, what was even meant to be happening, what was the mission anymore, because I think we achieved it, but we're still going. This thing's got more twists in it than a jumbo bag of pretzels. It's ridiculous. I lost count of the amount of shocking reveals we had in this movie. Honestly, M. Night Shyamalan would have been having a wet dream watching this. It's just kind of batshit insane, but because of that factor, it is kind of memorable. Argylle is enjoyable in the same way that watching Dumb Ways to Die is enjoyable. You're going to have two predominant reactions to most things in this movie, either being that you're going to shake your head furiously and think, what an idiot, or you're going to laugh yourself silly slapping your knee while thinking, what an idiot. It's an absolutely bonkers movie that isn't good, but I'm not going to forget it, that's for sure, and I'm going to give Argylle a 3 out of 10. Thank you for watching this review. Please be sure to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and please do hit the comment section as well. Have you seen Argylle? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section below. And of course, if you haven't had enough of this crazy ginger, well, you can always click on these suggested videos right here and get yourself lost in an IMO wormhole. But if not, take care, and I look forward to seeing you on the next review.